Hi guys, welcome back to yet another review. This time around I'm bringing you one of two IEMs that recently TANGZU has released. I'm talking of course of the TianPeng. This is their latest tribrid, a 1+6+1, so a single dynamic, 6 balanced armatures and a non-conduction driver as well. It has got first of all, it's inserted into a TANGZU product space, which includes as well the TANGZU Zwanzhu gate, which I have here on the left hand side, which was a 1+4, which is a 1+4+2, so single dynamic, 4 BAs and 2 ESTs, and also includes there's one Beiji, which is on the right hand side here, which it's a 1+4+1+1, so single dynamic, 4 BAs, a magnetostatic EST, and a piezoelectric bond conduction. So all of these three IEMs are within more or less the same sort of price range. We're talking $599, $559, $629, so kind of all within the same price point. They all are either tribrids or quadbrids. There's another peculiarity here, which is the fact that the TianPeng and the Beiji, they both share that 14.2 millimeter dynamic driver, which is something which was in-house developed by TANGZU, and it's a really it's a special driver. Trust me, it is a truly special driver. It's a silicon cloth diaphragm, 14.2 millimeters, like I mentioned. So it's a huge driver. It's not something that we usually see in IEMs, with very few exceptions. You don't usually see such big drivers, but this driver, seen first here in the Beiji, is really special. It is a truly special driver, and it has got some impressive capabilities, let's put it that way. Anyway, as I was saying, the TianPeng comes with the usual and expected accessories from TANGZU. The beautiful case. It brings an absolutely phenomenal looking cable. I mean, the cable looks just gorgeous, beautiful cable. Looks like $1,000,000. The IEMs themselves are resin shell, really nice quality, beautiful faceplate design, as you can see as well. I mean, they just look the part, and when you consider the amount of drivers and the size of the drivers, they actually are not too exaggerated in terms of their size. Fits beautifully in my ears. I used the supplied tips to test it, but I ultimately ended up using my KB07s, which it's just the tip that works best for me. I have to say that the results with the Senkai Nobles were very good. I did like the results with the Senkai Nobles. Look, guys, ultimately it's just a personal preference. I just prefer the KB07s. There's nothing wrong with the Nobles, and there's nothing wrong with actually the supplied tips that come with the TANGZU TianPeng. I mean, if there's one thing that we have to admit, is in that department, you won't have to be spending more money, in my opinion, or most of us probably won't be spending more money, unless you are, I don't know, just very delicate like I am with regards to my ears. So build quality top notch, really nothing to be said there. Accessories again top notch. I mean, look, this is $600+, so this is what you are expecting. This is what I am expecting. Whether or not now the $600 is worth it or not worth it, hey, guys, this is always very debatable. I have my own very particular opinion with regards to prices and how the law of diminishing returns starts playing its role, but ultimately, if I look at it in a very cold, simplistic manner, the $600, when you consider the quality of construction, when you consider the accessories, when you consider everything, it is a fair price. Okay, that's the reality. There are IEMs which are substantially more expensive that don't offer as much, and there are also IEMs which are cheaper that offer the same amount of accessories, or both in terms of quantity and quality. So I think TANGZU in that department, has ticked the right boxes. Let's put it that way. Anyway, let's talk about the sound, which is what we want to know. What does the TianPeng sound like? What doesn't it sound like? And I think one of the first things that will jump to mind is how similar or dissimilar is it to the Beiji, especially because they share the same size driver, a 14.2 millimeter, handling the lower frequencies. And ultimately, up to about 3K, just past 3K, they graph exactly the same. So yes, let's break it down here. Bass. I mean, like I said before, this 14.2 millimeter driver is absolutely phenomenal. It is a really solid driver, capable of a tremendous amounts of high quality, deep bass. The way that the bass here in the TianPeng has been tuned is much like in the Beiji. It's a tuck style bass, which is basically flat. Just before 200 hertz, it's basically flat. But then it still dips a little bit further in the frequency response, and the lowest point is about 1 kilohertz. In terms of bass gain, we're talking about 12 dBs of bass gain. In terms of pinna gain, we're talking about 9-10 dBs. So there is an emphasis on, let's say, the lower frequencies being more emphasized, especially because we are talking about a 14.2 millimeter driver. But the interesting fact is, because of the way that it's been done in that tuck style, you know, the 100 hertz point where it corresponds in the mids, which is a point that I like referencing, when you look at the graph, you might think that, oh, the bass is just overpowering because you got a lot of energy below 100 hertz, a lot of energy, way more energy than what you do have above that same corresponding point on the 2 kilohertz end. And no, it's actually quite interesting, and this is a testament to the quality of the dynamic driver, which is the balance of sound that is struck is very impressive. I would say, and I would even go as far as saying that when you listen to the TianPeng and you listen to the Beiji, although they basically share a lot of similarities in the tune, the way that the Beiji sounds is significantly more bass heavy. Okay, it's noticeable. It's not a placebo. It's not me thinking, or no. You notice that the bass on the Beiji is definitely more thunderous. It has that more let's say visceral, physical feel to it than on the TianPeng. The TianPeng, somehow, I don't know if it's because you got those extra drivers there in terms of the BAs, or the way that the bone conduction driver has been implemented. It sounds more balanced. Now, you asked me, oh, well, okay, but balanced how? Balanced colored, balanced audio file style? No, look, let's make it perfectly clear. Of the 3 IEMs here, the one that has the most audiophile balanced is definitely the gate. That's my opinion. Okay, these two are two interpretations of colored, both with their pluses and minuses in terms of the overall balance that's struck between the frequencies. But these are colored IEMs comparatively to the gate. The gate is the one that has that more linear, more neutral kind of presentation. Okay, that's the reality. And I think that, to a great extent, was perhaps one of the reasons why the gate was considered by some a little bit boring, because it lacked a little bit of life with certain genres. Okay, on the TianPeng, on the ABG, that's not an issue. I mean, loads of liveliness. They are capable of playing basically anything you throw at them very well, very competently, and then ultimately it's going to be a personal choice. Do you prefer the Beiji's overall tonality, or do you prefer the TianPeng's overall tonality? So bass, like I was saying, the TianPeng, phenomenal, really well executed. It's clean, it's detailed, it resolves well, no issues there, nothing to be pointed. Transitioning into the mids, very nicely done. It's a very uneventful transition. There's no bleed, nothing, which, when you consider that it's a 14.2 millimeter driver handling the lower frequencies, you could perhaps be led to believe that, which is something that on certain songs with the Beiji, you do feel that the bass is just a smidge overpowering. Okay, but again, not a deal breaker. This is me now trying to be more critical in my listening. Let's put it that way. Mids, in general, are fine. I've got nothing to say about the mids of the TianPeng. They're clean, they're detailed. Male and female vocals come across nicely. No added information that shouldn't be there. I would say maybe I would say ultimately the male vocals are the ones that are a little bit more impressive. I don't know if it's because of the restrained manner with which the BAs were maybe tuned, or I don't know. I just find that the female vocals do lack a little bit of sparkle here and there. But again, guys, this is me nitpicking. I prefer that tuning be done in this manner, where maybe you lack a little bit of sparkle, but you gain in terms of a better integration between all of the drivers, and then after all, 8 drivers in here. So a better integration between all the drivers. No sibilance, no unnecessary harshness, no unnecessary unevenness as you push the volume. So I prefer things to be done in the manner which they've done here at the TianPeng, than to have a little bit of more the extra detail. Fine, I do appreciate that little extra amount of detail, but then when you start pushing the volume, things just fall out of whack. Things just become unbalanced, or not as well mannered. So in that aspect, I have to say that yes, the TianPeng has done that properly. Okay, it has done that properly, and I like the way that it's done. In terms of the upper registers, fine, again, no issue. I would have liked here and there the occasional little extra amount of detail, but guys, trust me, I mean, I'm really trying to find things here that you could consider a fault. And I mean, and where do I mean that little bit of detail, extra detail? Well, when you take like Twilight from Brian Simpson, or you take, for example, From Dusk to Dawn by George Duke, or you take Feels Good by Roshan Peterson, or you take The Sea by Haven. You listen to it on the TianPeng, it sounds really good. It sounds, but you notice where that extra detail is missing when, for example, you go onto the gate. Okay, fair enough, the gate doesn't have the bass here, but those songs that I've just mentioned are not songs which are bass heavy in any way. But the detail that you get here from the gate by the usage of those ESTs and the overall tuning, the way that it's been done, it just makes the upper registers on the gate just that little bit more well-mannered, just that little more capable, okay? Again, I'm not taking anything away from the TianPeng. I'm just saying that that's where those songs are just examples of where I found that, a little bit more would have been nice, a little extra, especially when you consider that you have so many drivers. In the case of the Beiji, that further the Beiji further compounds a little bit what I just said. I would say the Beiji, if I have to make like a quick analysis of the three, I would say the Beiji is the more fun, the more engaging, the more, let's say, pop focused tune. The gate is the more audiophile, neutral type of tune, and the TianPeng tries and find a good compromise between the two of them. It tries and fetches some of the liveliness and fun and engagement of the Beiji in terms of the lower registers, and then it fetches a lot of the gate's ability to be more detailed, which, it's ultimately where its strengths are. That's the reality. So in terms, like I said, just a quick recap: bass, top marks, nothing to be said there. Mids, fine. I would say male vocals are probably the best. High frequencies, nicely done, well mannered, mature, not aggressive, nothing. Very, very unoffensive. I think it's the best word that I can use here. So it's a you could say it's a safe IEM to listen to. It's not an IEM that the majority will have any sort of problems or run into any sort of problems with regards to this part of the frequency or that part of the frequency being, not as well mannered. In terms of its technical capabilities, timbre and tonality, very nice. Nothing to be said there. I would say the timbre and tonality here, or perhaps even slightly better than the gate, which I guess is a positive characteristic or a pleasant surprise on the part here of the TianPeng. In terms of soundstage, I would say definitely the gate has got the best soundstage, the better imaging. Soundstage and imaging here are they kind of trade blows between the Beiji, very similar. Not a clear winner here in that department. Definitely the gate is the best of the three. In terms of resolution, detail retrieval as well, again the gate takes the cup. So this, I think, is again, not only is it the most neutral but the most technically capable, apart from the timbre and tonality, where the TianPeng is better. And that's it. I mean, you might, you guys know that I don't do gaming, but I actually, in a conversation with somebody where I mentioned that I was reviewing the TianPeng, he asked me about what would be my thoughts with regards to gaming. I would say that with regards to gaming, yes, it's probably going to be an IM that will actually do pretty well. The Beiji does well with gaming, from what I understand, not by personal usage, but from what I understand from some people that I've deal with, that I talk to, that I exchange ideas with, and that they do gaming. They mentioned the Beiji as being very capable with regards to that. So I would say that yes, the TianPeng probably will do very well in terms of its gaming capabilities. And guys, and that's basically it. There's really not much more that I can say. Obviously, you know, at $600, it's placed within a universe of IEMs at that range, which are very, very good. There's countless IEMs. I mean, if you guys want me to make any specific comparison, I'll do so. But we have, you know, Mega 5 EST, the 7th anniversary. We have, oh my, even cheaper, the Manga, the T Pro, the Yanyan Canon Pro. I mean, there's a whole bunch of IEMs within this 1+6. Hey, hell, even the Astral. So there's a lot of IEMs priced up to this point with this sort of configuration, which are very, very good as well. Obviously, TANGZU has got its positives, and you know, those I've already mentioned what they are: the build quality, the overall accessories package, and ultimately as well the sound. I mean, okay, it might not be a unique standout sound, but it does, when you listen to the TianPeng, you can definitely, I would say, without wanting to sound maybe a little bit, but you definitely do identify it as a TANGZU product. The TANGZU has had enough products by now that you can identify kind of, let's call it a house sound. Okay, so yeah, that's basically it, guys. I'll show you now quickly the graphs and we'll wrap it up. Okay, so let's talk now here graphs. This is the graph for the TianPeng with the KB07 tips, which is what I heard, and the graphs that I will be showing you of the other IMs are also using the KB07 tips, for the sake of there being more consistency in terms of the measurement, and in terms of what I used a dongle from TRN to make the measurements, so that there is commonality in terms of the source and of the tips being used. Obviously, with different tips, things do change a little bit. I ultimately used a different tip on the gate. I ultimately also used a different tip on the Beiji. I'm using ASLA on the Beiji. I'm using another ASLA on the gate. And only the KB ears are using. I'm using it on the TianPeng, and the reason why I use the others on the other IEMs, it's just because they ultimately just gave me the best compromise between fit and sound and everything. Were the differences dramatic to the KB07? No, they weren't. Let's be honest about it. Anyway, this is the graph of the TianPeng. As you can see, it's got that great big bass that I talked about, and then kind of well mannered, but flat by, look, 180 hertz, it's flat and carries on with a slight dip, and then by 1 kilohertz it starts raising, you know, it starts the pin again, peaks at about 3 point something, and then I would say these two peaks here are more a consequence of the measuring rig than anything else. I didn't find this peak to be there. Fair enough, I have such monstrous amounts of bass that I would never pick up on it, or would be difficult to pick up on it. And this, yeah, it's definitely a capital related peak. I mean, it doesn't in any way, these two frequencies don't jump out. Past 10K, as you can see, there's extension, but it's an extension which is very, it's let's say just the right amount. Okay, compared to the gate. I'll compare it to the Beiji first. Let me just make the Beiji here in red so that it stands out. Okay, this is the Beiji with the same sort of, or same tip, same source, and as you can see, yes, definitely very similar here overall in terms of the bass, mids, and up, sorry, sub bass, bass, low mids, mids, and to a great extent as well the upper mids. But then obviously there's a little bit less information in this part of the spectrum. You have the upper mids and treble, and yes, that's why the Beiji then does sound more authoritative overall in terms of its tonality. It's got a little bit extra detail up top as compared with the TianPeng, but nothing that is enough to overall say no, it's more detailed or better soundstage or anything of the sort. No, I didn't find it that way. And then finally, the where is it? Yeah, let me make it a different color again so that we can pick up on it better. Let's make it let's make it green. I guess you'll see it well. Okay, so this is in green. What I've just placed is the gate, and of course, I mean, the difference in bass is huge. The gate, not only does it have a different style of tuning of bass, which is more that gliding style of bass, but it's using a normal 10mm driver, not the 14.2, so it's a different sort of bass altogether. It's in this area here that then the magic in the gate happens. Let me just take away here the TianPeng. In this department here of the mids, upper mids, and treble, and the balance that's struck from behind, that's where the magic of the gate is, and the extension past 10K as well. I mean, that 100 hertz point, as you can see, corresponds to just over 2K, but the energy that we have below here in the gate and what we have here, it's not an energy where you would say, oh, it pends towards being bassier or darker sounding. No, forget it. No, it's all about mids, upper mids, and treble and detail up top. That's where the gate unquestionably shines. The TianPeng, again, just for you to see, as you can see, the balance here is way more well done than what you would be led to believe by the graph. And the Beiji, again, the same thing. Yes, here the balance actually is a balance which pends towards the lower frequencies being the ones that are the most emphasized. Definitely, without a question. I mean, if I put the two of them together, you can definitely see what I was saying. The balance in terms of the extremes of the frequencies between the Beiji and the TianPeng, the TianPeng has got a better balance, and that's why I was saying the TianPeng is kind of like the middle ground between being audiophile neutral and being colored fun. Okay, guys, that's basically it. As always, like and subscribe. Any questions, please feel free to ask me, and I'll do my best to answer as quickly as possible. You take care now. Bye bye.